Tracy has been in Cabo for 2 weeks, so he's on vacation time. We've all been jealous. So, anyway, we're on chapter 26 in the book Little Things Matter. It's titled Engaging Contact. And on Thursday, we did give a proper handshake, so this kind of just falls right into line with that. He said eye contact is a form of nonverbal communication that can have profound influence on your social and professional interactions. Here in the United States, eye contact, hey, Tracy, I don't think everybody's muted.
Well, let me try again.
Okay. All right. Here in the United States, that's all right, eye contact demonstrates interest and respect, but whether or not you look someone in the eye will depend on nationality and culture. Making eye contact is not as simple as it sounds. When is your gaze considered too long? How do you make eye contact when you are speaking with one or more persons? If someone doesn't make eye contact with you, what conclusions do you draw about that person? So now he says, he's talking about speaking, when you're speaking with one person. When you're involved in a conversation with one person, there will be opportunities for you to talk and times for you to listen. When you are talking, it's acceptable to occasionally look away as you think and collect your thoughts. If there are distractions in the room, make sure to maintain your eye contact with the person who is giving you their attention. When you are listening, maintain eye contact with the person talking. Don't stare, rather meet their eyes in a manner that indicates a sincere interest in what they are saying. If you get a sense that someone is feeling uncomfortable with your eye contact because they often look down or away from the conversation, occasionally try to break the eye contact for 1 or 2 seconds. This should put the person at ease and make for a more productive conversation. He said, I vividly recall a painful lesson I learned years ago. After completing a sales training for 200 people, a woman came to the podium, introduced herself, and commented on the presentation. As she was talking, I occasionally looked at the other people waiting to speak with me. She paused and asked, do you not have an interest in what I am saying? Ouch, that one really hurt. Since then, I have been conscious about maintaining eye contact with people, even when there are distractions that could draw my eyes from them. When you're speaking with 2 or more people, when you're taking part in conversation with a group of 2 or more people, additional challenges are presented. When a member of the group is talking, you should give this person your full attention by making eye contact. If you don't look at the person talking, he or she will notice. This person will also feel disconnected from you and perhaps even worse, sense a lack of respect. When you're speaking to the group, the most challenging part of making eye contact in a group setting takes place when you are the one speaking. When this occurs, your goal should be to share your eye contact equally with everyone in the group. Each person should feel important and included in the conversation. A recent visit to a car dealership is a perfect illustration of what happens when you don't make equal eye contact in a group setting. My wife had been shopping for a new car and asked me to go with her to look at one she was interested in buying. As the salesman talked to us, he spent 90% of his time looking at me and only 10% at my wife. When we left the dealership, she told me that she felt disrespected and excluded from the conversation. His lack of eye contact had cost him the sale. And, you know, when I think about this chapter, like, I can't even tell you how many times that has happened. As a couple, you know, when you're talking, especially someone selling you something, when, you know, they're addressing both Kirby and I, and they just speak to him, you know, it makes you think, hello, you know, he obviously doesn't understand that I help make the decisions too. In fact, I'm pretty much of a domineering person, and you better be talking to me if you want a decision made. And it just blows my mind at how that happens so many times. And, it's interesting. We went to visit a church a few months ago, and the pastor did not know how to make eye contact with the audience. This is the lead pastor in a fairly large church. I mean, not large, but there was like 500 people there. And so at first I'm thinking, there must be a balcony up there. And he's talking to the people in the balcony. And so I look up there to see the balcony. Well, there is no balcony. There is no one up there that he is looking at. And then I think, well, maybe there's a screen up there that is telling him what to say, like he's reading from the screen. And he would go right to left, right to left, right to left, looking, but it was always staring up, like never looking straight on. He never made eye contact with me, and I was like in the second row. He never looked down at the people sitting in the congregation. It was all up. And when I realized there's no screen up there that he's looking at, there's no people up there that he is looking at, this guy just does not know how to make eye contact with who he's speaking with. And it was so annoying that, we both, Kirby and I, said we could never go back there. If he doesn't even know how to look at his people, it was just weird. And, and one more thing, just I noticed this, like in a group setting, like maybe you're in 2 or 3 people and someone's speaking and they're only looking, like if someone's speaking and they're only talking to me and there's 2 or 3 other people there in the group, it makes me so uncomfortable. I'm like, hey, you're making me uncomfortable because there's other people here you should be talking to. And so I won't quit looking at them so they don't have a choice but to look at somebody else. That's what I do. I just quit looking and look at the other people so that he will see or she will see that they need to look at somebody else, because it's making me feel uncomfortable, and it makes the other people feel so disrespected and unimportant. So anyway, I'll give it to you for your thoughts, Tracy.
Wow, there's so much on this chapter. So eyes are the windows of the soul, right? And here, whether someone's lying or not, I always feel if someone's talking to me and they are not looking at me, that there is some lie in what they're saying, and it's just what I believe. And so whether they are or not, that's what I believe, and I think a lot of people feel that way. But each culture, eye contact means something different. When I was in prison, and I'll clean this up at the end, but when I was in prison, you had to make eye contact with people or you were a coward and you would be preyed upon. It is that simple, whether you worked there or not. And number one. Number two, you didn't make eye contact.
You need to let people know you were, hey, you need to let people know.
I worked there. I worked at prison. I was going to tell them at the end. Hey, so I did work there. I worked there 18 years. But here's the other deal on that. So if you made eye contact too long, it was considered a challenge. You were challenging them, so you had to be real careful with that. And the only reason I bring that up is so it's a different culture there. There's a different culture everywhere. The other thing I wanted to bring up is that, my wife loves to tell stories, and sometimes I've heard her stories more than once. But what I have found is when she starts telling a story, even though I may have heard it 2 or 3 times, if I'm not making eye contact and I'm looking away, it invalidates her, and it makes her not feel very good. And so, when we don't make eye contact with people, they don't feel too good about themselves. So I that's another reason to make eye contact with people. And with that, I'll throw it back to you for the last couple words. Yes, I did work at the prison.
I was like, okay, everybody's wondering here. But anyway, you retired from prison. Anyway, I kind of feel like when people are talking to me and they do not look me in the eye, to me it just kind of shows a insecurity. I mean, that's the only thing I try not to think, oh, that person's disrespecting me. I think it's an insecurity. And I think that they're just shy or they're uncertain about what they're saying, so they're having to look around to keep their thoughts together, because some people are uncomfortable when, they're looking straight on at your face and seeing your expressions. It can get them distracted from what they're saying, and they can, get off track or whatever. But I think it's a great topic, and I just think it's so important. That the pastor was like just a real lesson for me. I'm like, wow, how does somebody, and he wasn't very old. I mean, I bet he wasn't 30 or 32 years old. So he just had not learned that yet. And he was, obviously just still insecure in what he was doing. That's the only thing I can think, that he can't look at his crowd. Anyway, he says the challenge today, starting today, when you talk with one person, maintain eye contact to show that you believe this person is important. And with more than one person, challenge yourself to share eye contact equally with each person in the group. It takes practice, but like anything you practice, repetition will make it more natural. So I think it's a great topic and a great chapter. This book is just filled with little things that matter. So I'll give it back to you to close out, Tracy.
Hey, the very last thing, two things. Number one, everybody you come in contact with today, just try to leave them a little bit better than you found them. Number two, I just want to say this. Like, I didn't sleep at all, like maybe a half hour. I did not want to do this call. I was like, oh, I haven't done it in a week. So I was real nervous. Didn't want to do this call, thinking of every excuse in the book. Finally, I just said, no, you know what? I need to do this call. My hands were sweating and everything else. These positive wake-up calls just do wonders for us, and I'm so glad that I was on this call. So it's good to hear everybody. It's great to hear Cindy. With that, I'm going to unmute everybody to say goodbye.
Great job, guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Merry Christmas. Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you,
Great
Tracy.
job.
Thank you, Cindy. Have a good day.
Everybody have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.